So, how do you help someone trust their team more without all the stress of like, I have to micromanage, I have to make those decisions?
That's a very good question. I see that so often. And what I've seen is that leaders are able to delegate work, but somehow they're not able to delegate the responsibility, the power. And it's very interesting, very interesting. This whole thing about you have to delegate so you can do more, you have to delegate. What I've observed is that people are able to delegate, but they're only able to delegate the work. But the decision making power, you're not able to delegate. And it's this fine balance of not just delegating work, but also delegating the power, the responsibility that comes along with it. And that just gives
Mhm.
you so much more freedom. And I've also found with people like the more trust you put in people, they actually perform better. And I've seen that with my inspiration is Gurudev. He's a founder of Art of Living Foundation, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar. He's a one renowned humanitarian and a peacemaker, and he's been traveling around the globe, and his mission is to create a stress-free and a violence-free society. And what's really inspired me is his ability to trust people, like empower people and trust people. And I've seen that when you put that, I'm not saying blindly trust everyone, but when you put that faith and trust in people, they actually go out and perform really well.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that ability to let go, as you mentioned, has to come. And the more you're able to let go, the more empowerment happens actually.
It's a really good point, and it's almost like, it's tough because you have to do it with faith to see the results, right?
Yeah,
Well, once you do, then that starts the flywheel. Once you trust somebody and you have that successful experience, it becomes easier and easier to do it again and again.
exactly.
Now, let's say that we have a business owner and they have gone through the 3-day program from Art of Living and they're using these tools in their everyday life. What are the early signs that this person is starting to move from reactive mode into a more intentional and effective way of operating? How are they going to be able to see the difference?
The very first thing you'll see is a lot more mental clarity. Some of the best business leaders you see around the globe, there's such clarity. Even when they speak, it's so clear. They know exactly where they are, they know where they want to get, and they know how they're going to get there. So that clarity starts coming in, and that is a big deal. And then the other most important thing is your mind becomes more calm and more peaceful. What's the difference between reaction and response? In response, when you respond to something, you think and you act. In reaction, you act and then you think afterwards, what did I do? So it's like the difference, and that distinction comes when the mind is more calm, more peaceful, more you're more at home wherever you are. Naturally, that better decision making happens, and those tools start kicking in after you start practicing right away from day one. It starts working.
That's awesome. It's awesome that it is so immediate and that that's really the foundation for everything, right? Like how you think about and respond to situations is the foundation for everything. So that one change can really have so much impact.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I know that you talk a lot about purpose alongside performance, and we've talked about the art of living and the purpose and nonprofit. How do these two things connect for leaders who are in our conventional Western business world where we're focused on growth and results? How can that leader think about purpose alongside performance?
At the end of the day, any leader, you're doing what you're doing, you're making the sacrifices. I mean, all leaders, they make sacrifices. If you're not making sacrifices, you would not be a leader actually. So they make sacrifices, and you're making those sacrifices because there's a purpose that you really believe in. There's something you're not, and that's one thing I've seen with the leaders also. It's yes, you want to make more money, you want to make the business grow, but there's something more to it in it. It's a fire in the belly that, I want to do something, I want to achieve something. And that is what drives the leaders. And again, coming back to the, having a purpose and focusing on something much bigger. It's just if you start like, okay, I want to make this much money, and that's there that, business has to make money. But then there's something more to it also that, I want to do so for the greater good. I want to do it because maybe I want to help the society. Maybe I want to help my family. When there's a bigger purpose, something bigger, a bigger goal that is in mind, naturally you're more driven. And that
Yes,
comes again, that comes. I love watching football. I don't know if you, Adrian, if you watch football, but not the soccer, but the football. And some of the best quarterbacks you see in NFL are also the ones who can perform so calmly and there's so much pressure. That's such a beautiful ability to have as a leader. And coming back to this breathing exercises, that's what helped me when I started teaching all these things and started traveling and doing things. The breath work, in spite of my crazy schedule, hours and hours of traveling across different time zones and all, it gave me such calmness and so much energy that you're able to perform so much better. And it's at the end of the day, it's not just about working hard, it's working smart. And that's what it is.